How has it been for someone in the hospitality these last 15, 16 months?
I want to take a deep breath here before I jump down this rabbit hole, because it's been horrendous.
That bad, yeah?
Yeah, really, really tough. But when the guillotine come down, it was really severe because I was at war, I think. It's probably the best description I can give it, with the council. And they were coming after me because of homeless shelters, because I had a bit of a following. And I think they had their allegiances, in my view, to the Echo. I'm sure they'll deny that. And the proof of the allegiances to the Echo would be the fact that I had 85 negative stories against me over a period of time. And for someone that, doesn't wear a super big watch and doesn't drive around in a big man car and doesn't rub people's noses in things and creates homeless shelters and gives back whatever he can, and anyone knows me knows I help everybody I possibly can. To get 85 negative stories from someone that hasn't killed anyone, and by the way, you'd only get one story for that anyway,
yeah.
I think just shows just how severe the situation got. And it was a war based on about 3 fronts. And I think I've said this before in another podcast, it was like going to war with a pea shooter against everyone with machine guns and bombs and everything. And they threw them and they hit me with everything they got. And I think when we went into lockdown, I think I was so on the floor. I didn't know how we were going to meet our £1 million a month wages.
Is that the wage bill every single month?
Yeah.
That's fucking a lot of money, that.
Roll the clock back a little bit then. So at the time, we'd just gone through Brexit. Brexit was severe. And just cast your mind back to everyone was glued to Brexit. And when the government went against Parliament with a 400-200 vote against the population, if you like. And I was a Remainer, by the way. But once that vote was cast, I was all for following that cast of that vote. Parliament didn't believe that, and government obviously was trying to follow that line. The problem that ensued was that all the money, because we're only a small country and all of our money comes from outside, clearly. A lot of people felt as though the UK was unstable. And, what better way than to see instability than having Parliament vote against government. And money just stopped. And we actually sold, or agreed to sell, Shankly and James Street for 48 million beforehand, which would have paid a lot for all of our investors and got me into a nice place. But no one could get anything over the line because the funds weren't here to actually get that over the line. When the election was called, and ultimately it was won by the Conservatives on the 13th of December, then all the calls were coming in and saying, this is going to get back on again, and the money's going to come through and whatever. And I think we had debts of probably about 120 million at the time.
Jesus.
But we had assets of 245 million. Now, that was just bricks and mortar, never mind the business itself. Don't worry, that went quite quickly. Bring in COVID and you lose. And then COVID come, and that just derailed everything. And we had a deal with a very large, like an extremely large property company, one of the biggest in Europe. And they were coming in to pay everyone off and to give us a £200 million expansion. And then clearly that doesn't happen, because when you're closed, if you are closed, how do you pay back a loan? It's a non-starter. So then, I've gone into the Shankly Hotel pretty down, thinking, I've got a battle. And I'm in a battle with the council, and I'm in a battle with the Echo, and I'm in a battle with everyone else. And I've decided to stay quiet. Now, the void that was created by the Echo creating all the negativity about me, and I didn't defend myself once because I had nothing else to say, and I only had one bullet in the chamber, and I didn't want to use it there and then. So I had to wait and bide my time till I understood what I could do. I think at that point, my view was that pretty much everything was going to go. I didn't think for a minute that I'd hold on. We had a homeless shelter quite a while ago. We didn't close it down. We were sort of forced to close it down, and we did. The pictures from underneath the car park, which was public land, in an area which has been a bit of a drug haven for a long time, was sent by the council to the Echo, and the Echo put on the front page, Kenwright drugs. And by the way, I've never drank a lager or a wine in my life, by the way. So to have Kenwright drugs put on the front page, and then it happened then 3 times. So that negativity from my investors then was filled by this void that was created by this negative, press. And I didn't fight back. So then the investors then thought, so he's sold off properties, he's ran off with the money, he's gone because we don't hear from him, so therefore he must have stolen the money. And it wasn't until we opened up again in the July that I could then rear my head up again and say, actually, no, we're trading really well. because we traded really well when we opened the Shankly, better than anyone else. No one come even close to our figures. And then I felt the confidence then to come back into the public domain and say, actually, no, you know, we're fine, we're good, you know, we're back. I've got about 400 or 500 investors from all over the world. And they've now voted 95% in favour as unsecured investors in favour of what we're doing, which is very unusual because the Shankly went into administration. And they've backed us, not against the administration, but to saying, you know, we support you. Which again, when you go through something like COVID, and we had 1,000 people working in the hotels, we had 600 working in the development side, so 1,600 people. And when you've just lost £100 million in assets, it's a bit of a canvas to get off. But I've never seen that money as mine, by the way, and I've never thought it was mine. But like, it was very, very difficult to get back. So for me to trade well and have the investors to back me was a massive win for me, and probably has put the wind in my sails to carry on. Because without them, because they can be quite acidic when they get going, and they really did come after me. So to have them behind me now is really good for me.
Why is the Echo, or why is it against it? What? I don't understand. I'm not from the city, you see, so I don't know like anything.
You're not a Scouser?
No.
When all those parties come after you, it's quite severe, and you will find it very difficult if you haven't got something to say it. And the void that you create because you haven't said anything sometimes can be the deafening point. And I think because I didn't say anything at that time, and you know, you could argue all day long, you should have always come out, you should always defend your corner. I had nothing to say. I didn't know whether we could open up again. I didn't know whether I was going to be at the helm. I didn't know whether the investors would allow me to be at the helm. So I think that negativity fed on itself, and it got more and more severe as time went on. Let's go through a story. We opened a homeless shelter. Underneath the homeless shelter is a car park. Car park's been a drug den for many, many years. We're working with the council. We're meeting them every week. Frank Hunt and Christine Banks, two great people, by the way. The council have come to take away a load of debris left there by the homeless. They don't come for 36 hours. When they do come, the homeless have got into it underneath the car park, and they've opened all the boxes, whatever. Council then take pictures. They then send the pictures right away then to the Echo. The Echo then put it on the front page of the Echo. We then start pushing through FOIs, you know, why would you do it? Why would you do this to us? You know, with a Scouts firm, why would you ever hurt us in this way? And on the morning of when James Street got hit, on that day, 2 health and safety executives walk into James Street. Normally it's never more than one. Normally they come for 45 minutes. These come for a collective 9 hours. And when they came in on that morning, there was a reporter waiting in James Street, waiting for them. Fact, by the way. And Alison McRae phoned me in the morning and told me about it. Alison McRae being the editor of the Echo. And he said, look, I'm really sorry. You know, I know Kenwright drugs on the front page of the paper isn't right, and I'm really sorry about that. And we have changed that content. And he did, in fairness. He said, but I do like you as a person, and I have to tell you they're coming for you. And I said, you know, as a Scout, well, who's coming for me? What are you talking about? He said, no, they're coming for you today, and they're going to close you down. I went, they can't close it down, they haven't been in. He said, exactly. And there was a reporter waiting in reception. I've got all the statements, got all the facts, got everything to back that up. Fact. So when they come in for this collective 9 hours. They go upstairs, they go into the top floor where the kitchen is, and they get 5 maintenance people to come in and remove every bit of machinery away from the wall. And they find on the waterfront of Liverpool, on borrowed land, in a 130-year-old building, every building's got mice, by the way, and they find 2 mice in the cavity of the wall. One is in the back of the fridge, outside the fridge, but in the integration of the fridge, and the other one is in the cavity of the wall, and they find 2 mice. We get closed down right away. Now, this is where the collusion bites in, okay?
Oh, Jesus.
Here's the problem. Every single restaurant that's been closed down for mice in which in Liverpool, there's plenty. They have 2 stories, one when the mice are found, and the second one when the conviction is given. 2. We had 12. The only anomaly to that is when Stephen Gerrard, who was partners in the Vincent, had 3. Why did he have 3? Because he's a world brand. I'm not a world brand, am I? So we had 12. When COVID come, and we were obviously still in 30 James Street, a building that I lost 2.5 stone doing, and gave me soul into that building. I love that building. The owners, which we owed about 6.2 million to on a 13.7 million pound valuation. So they come in and said, you are not worthy to be in this hotel because we see you as being detrimental to its value. Because
the investors?
No, the fund.
The fund, right?
Yeah, by this time we've moved away from investing.
Right,
we're going to funding. So a big. I think that a £2 billion fund come in, and they're going to do a deal with us on James Street as well as Shankly, but they've done James Street. So they said, you're clearly not good enough to be here. There's 12 stories, 12 negative stories about mice. You are detrimental to the site, so we're going to throw you out. And we're going to bring another company in. So we got pretty much put into administration, so liquidation there and then, and throughout.
Jesus.
All on the back of 12 negative stories when only 2 are ever applied.
Why?
Well, I've got to be very careful here, haven't I? If I want to start picking a fight again and go back to war, I've still only got a pea shooter.
We need the views, Lawrence.
Yeah.